A mental health court is a program that attempts to divert offenders who have a serious or persistent mental illness out of the cycle of rearrest in the criminal justice system.
We had some form of some kind of mental health court through the years, but they were kind of ad hoc. They were, if there was a judge that was particularly interested in that area, they tried to start something.
So the point of the mental health alternative court is to give these offenders a chance to rehabilitate themselves, because if they were to be, this is essentially a last chance court, and if they were sentenced to prison, they would come out with no help, no one to help them in the community, no one to help them with their treatment. This is a way to give them that final push or that extra help to be compliant with their treatment and to hopefully be rehabilitated in the sense that whatever their main mental health issue is addressed, so that any chance of recidivism or any chance of them reoffending due to symptoms from their mental health illness is addressed through our court, and that way they won't be back in the system.
Mental health court is not just about getting folks in treatment and services. It's also about the supervision of the court. So the team has this collaborative process where they're supervising a person's progress towards making a lot of other social strides, pro-social strides. So developing connections with friends and family, getting jobs, employment, education, housing. And so the supervision of the court with the treatment and services is what I argue is very effective about these programs.
The thing is that if they go to Department of Corrections, or even if they spend a long time in Marion County Jail, they're still going to be released. And if they sit in DOC or they sit in the jail and they don't get the services and the help that they need, and they return to our communities, we're back in the same situation we were before they went. And so the goal is to try to have these people in the community and try to really provide an integrated and holistic approach to helping them get the support and services they need. Some of these people have never had that kind of support in their lives.
So I actually think that the court is off to a phenomenal start. They're bringing in high-risk offenders. So some of my research suggests that these programs, given the level of supervision that they have, are not set up well for low-risk offenders. And what I've argued is that mental health courts are really set up, the level of supervision in them, for high-risk offenders, people who are frequent flyers in the criminal justice system. And so they're off to a good start in targeting that population. And the future of it is going to be simply growing.
The difference in the mental health court, alternative court from the regular criminal court, is that a regular criminal court is adversarial. You got prosecutor, defense attorney, and they are battling for their own positions. In the mental health alternative court, it is intended to be a non-confrontational court, a non-adversarial kind of environment where the only interest is making sure that those individuals who are in the criminal justice system start receiving some of the services that they need. It's a voluntary program. Nobody's forced into it. They have to be willing to do the work. Right now, the Indiana Department of Corrections is the largest mental health provider in the state.
I think the mental health court is a great addition to Marion County problem-solving courts. It has allowed us to take people who wouldn't succeed in prison and who don't need to be in prison, in the sense that they're not violent against people, they're not necessarily violent, but they have a serious mental health diagnosis that's prohibiting them from being successful in life and in the community. And this court is allowing them to get the help that they need through recovery coaches, through the court system, and be able to have resources that are available even when they're done with probation. And from what I've seen, the people are really enjoying, as much as you can enjoy being in court, they're really enjoying their experience and benefiting from all the opportunities that the court has to offer.
For the community, it's a huge benefit. First of all, they're not going to the Department of Corrections. So for taxpayers, they're not paying for a body to be in that system, and it's very expensive, especially for someone who has a mental illness, because they have to be treated. But there was this individual, he was in a wheelchair, he was an older man, and he had one of his legs was amputated, but he was a really personable guy. Well, he also had a tendency, I'm sure, to kind of mouth off a little bit over in the jail. And so he was picked up, and he was always in and out. He was one of those revolving doors. And he did have a mental illness. He'd get out, and he was schizophrenic, and he'd come right back. And he had not been receiving much treatment. One of the times that he was in, he had rolled his wheelchair over the foot of one of the gangbangers that was also a resident of the Marion County Jail. And that person and his brother got angry about it, and they beat him to death. That was something that was really impactful for me. I think everybody in the community understands the importance of having a program that addresses this issue. I don't think there's anybody that would argue with it. So my hope is the legislature and the community advocates, activists understand how important this is and support this program.